Start with camera.
We're good.
Hi, my name is Bill Sullivan. I'm the owner of this property. I am also the developer that I'll be developing the property. We build high-end communities throughout this Brandon, Valrico, Riverview area. This whole area, right? Lithia area. We built things like Hawks Fern. I don't know if you've ever seen Hawks Fern. Hawks Fern, that whole street there, all those Hawks projects are all ours. They're on Boyette. We built over here. We built like Summit View, and if you've been over at the other side, we built on St. Cloud. We built 3 projects on St. Cloud. We built the Valerie Forest. I don't know if you've ever seen Valerie Forest, where you go in the beautiful park, and then we've also built Valerie Park, and over a little further to the west. This is one of our main areas of building throughout Florida.
What's the name of your home building company?
Potomac Land Company. We don't build houses, we build communities. So we sell the lots to the builders.
Gotcha.
So we're community builders, we're community developers, we don't build houses. And I am the principal of the company. I literally don't have any partners anymore. I do this on my own. And I want to just tell you a little bit about, and I was going to wait till the end to tell you, but I'll tell you a little bit about myself that I think you'll find this very interesting. When I graduated from the University of South Florida, my first job was in warranty for Pulte Homes in Bloomingdale. So I originally started my career 40 years ago here in Bloomingdale. And so here I am nearing the end of my career, and I'm building, or I would like to build this in Bloomingdale. Bloomingdale is very important to me. I want to do something that is going to be really nice for Bloomingdale. I didn't want to put too many lots on this property. It says 33. We're going to, we have to meet certain criteria with the planning board, with the planning commission for so it says 33. And most likely we'll be able to only fit about 28 lots on this property, but we can't, we can't really say, we have to say the maximum is 33. We want to build a good community, and I want your all's input while you're here as well. So please feel free, if you want to stop in the middle of the presentation. This is Sean Cashin. He is our engineer, and he's engineered most of our projects, most of our communities, and he'll be engineering this community as well. And he's going to help me, assist me with the presentation tonight. We also, just another side note, I chased that property for 8 years until I finally was able to buy it. So we have a long-term position, things in this area. We still own, on the other side of Camino Elementary, we still own 15 acres on the other side of Camino, adjacent to Bloomingdale as well. So we own literally the last 2 pieces next to Bloomingdale.
You own on the east side.
Yes.
On Tavallo Hills.
Pardon?
Isn't it Tavallo Hills over there?
Tavallo Hills,
Yeah.
yes.
That's where the gopher tortoises are.
There are gopher tortoises.
Yeah, there
But
is.
there are gopher tortoises on every piece we
There
ever
is.
own.
There was it about 10 grand to move each turtle?
No,
I think,
no,
or
no.
something?
It's only about 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Yeah. Only. So it's not bad if there isn't 100 of them or 200 of them.
I had a little tortoise go. This is a really funny story. I had a tortoise the other day go through the middle of our barn.
Yeah.
And so we had to pick him up and put him somewhere else on the property. But he was literally coming into our barn.
Yeah.
We don't want a tortoise in our barn.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take this over, and I think, Sean, you're going to walk through the slides as we go.
Oh, okay.
Is that usually how we do this, or?
We trade off. We go back and forth.
So let's go page up, page down. There we go. You know what the project is, right? Everyone knows where the community would be.
Yep.
Adjacent to Camino Elementary, and Bloomingdale. The future land use for this property is R4, which is 4 units to the acre. The present zoning is AS1.
1 house per acre.
Yes, ma'am. The community Brandon plan, this is in the suburban district, And the proposed density of 3.1001 units per acre is meeting the minimum density of 75% of the future land use R4. Additionally, we meet the criteria in the Brandon Community Plan for suburban. The suburban allows you to build townhomes, single family, and so we don't want to put anything like townhomes here. You know, I actually was approached by my my land use attorney, and he was like, "Well, you can put townhomes there." I'm like, "No, my wife will divorce me. I'm not going to let you put townhomes here."
You tell him to keep his opinion to himself.
I did. So, you know, fortunately, we never, you know, it might have been talked about, but it was never considered. We want to put houses here. We want to put the same houses, if not larger lots than what is adjacent to us, specifically to the south, you know, because they're right there in Bloomingdale. And it's also this, we hope this is going to be a good transition from the elementary school to out to the main street. We're in the urban service area, as you all know. There's the topography. It kind of drains to the corner of the site, over there by the pond in the elementary school. We have water adjacent to the project, both water, a water main, a 12-inch water main, and an 8-inch force main. The surrounding density of existing projects in the area, we have Bloomingdale Section AAG, and I wish we should have put, Kevin, we needed to put the actual names of these communities, because this is what they're known as, the plat, but maybe that's not what people know them as. This would be, those are 52 units on 16 acres, which is a density of 3.5 units. And as you go down the list, you can see that, you know, the density that we're doing is less than what is out here before. In fact, you know, the 6,600 square foot units in DD are 6,600 square feet, and then to go to 6,600, pretty much everything surrounding this is like 6,600 square feet that are in subdivisions, sorry. And here's the general site plan. I'm going to let Sean talk about the general site plan for a few minutes.
Alrighty. Proposed site plan, we have a single entrance to Culver Road. Yeah, we have the road that goes in and it loops into a cul-de-sac right by, is it Cimino? Is that how you pronounce it?
Camino.
Camino. Okay, alright. Camino Elementary School. And you can see right here, we have a retention pond that's located by the main entrance road. We have another drainage retention pond, two ponds actually here in the corner. These are where the minimum 6,600 square foot lots are going to be located here on either side of the road. And I was going to say there's access here because the county is making us step out and access to this particular folio.
That's me.
Okay.
So what's the reasoning for that?
So it was required by Hillsborough County Traffic, and it is part of the county, their transportation interconnectivity policy, where
Not kidding.
There's no roads on my property.
No, I understand. We would prefer not to put them on. We were forced to, required to, and it's the county's attempt to.
Is it their access point?
No, it's not an access point. Here's what it's really is for. It is for if someone were ever to develop your piece, they would then have a road to be able to go on to. That's all the reason. And the county wants that. I've talked to my county commissioners.
My property.
No, I'm not wanting them on your property. They're not getting it.
I'm saying long term, nobody's going to be developing that.
No, I
That's
understand.
interesting.
I agree, but it's just that's the way the county thinks.
Is it an ordinance or?
Oh no, it is. It's land development code somewhere. You remember where it is in the land development
It's
code?
okay.
No,
It's okay. You don't
We
remember.
can. That's
It's a
Outside.
policy element, part of the comp plan. I think that's
Yes.
part of it. And the county is trying to promote interconnectivity from any kind of redevelopment. And in this case, even though we understand this, there's really no need for a connection there requiring this roadway stub out. And oftentimes we get this question when we have community meetings and our public hearings, why do you have this roadway stub out? To which we answer, the county's making us.
Is it curb cuts and stuff on my?
It will-
No,
it will not.
it'll end like 10 feet before your property
Right.
transition down.
Yeah, 5 to 10 feet from your.
But they want an easement to my side?
No, no easement, no nothing.
Okay.
It's just sitting out there,
The road to nowhere.
the road to nowhere.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, road to nowhere.
So another thing to keep in mind about this community is, you notice we didn't want to put lots out by the street, and we designed it, so we left a retention pond, a drainage retention pond along the entrance, to have a nice
Where the
driveway
road
in.
is now.
Right, so that we didn't have houses stacked up against the street there.
How deep is the drainage?
No, road. Just the drainage.
Oh,
That's where the road is now.
it is, and I'm just going by scale, roughly this is 120 feet, probably by 300 or so. So they're going to be fairly large ponds, these two that are at the corner of the road. The drainage retention area here is roughly, it's 105 feet to the road. There'll be a track line backed off about 10 feet or so. So this pond will be roughly 90 to 95
Our
feet.
property is 150 feet wide, so I mean, if it's wider than my property, then it's, 160, 170 foot, 180 foot.
No, it's not that wide, it's 135 feet actually.
Well, yeah.
That piece is 135 feet wide.
No, he's saying that.
Oh, I'm talking about mine, because this is right on the back of mine.
Yeah. No, it's, here's, look at it, and if we don't have a slide for it tonight, but I can explain why we have so much retention, is that there's a 100-year flood issue right in here. This line here is a 100-year flood line, the FEMA 100-year flood. I think the elevation has been determined by the county,
Yes.
and so it's a little bit less than that, but that's just to protect everyone in the whole area, so no one else's houses flood, nothing has flood, so we build more retention. We build more than less. It's better to have safe than sorry.
So that's what we kind of have a question on, because we're the little lot right next to them. Is
Yes,
that if you
north of
guys
us.
build up, and there's the drainage retention area right there.
Right.
We're
Where does the water go?
We already have water coming.
I don't think,
in
we're
front
gonna be
of
a
us.
grade at your property line, so I don't think we're building up much.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
because
no.
We already have the drainage from the street coming back towards
Right.
us. So if we have it come on both sides, we're kind of.
You're gonna be in a
Well,
boat.
Right.
You're be in a
Let's go
river.
back a couple slides to answer her question for a second.
Yeah,
I
with
think you
the
can.
runoff.
Let's go back.
Yeah, because we already get the runoff from up front, so we don't want the runoff from up front.
Now, let me go a page up.
I assume the drainage
I
would be
mean, the
the,
front, the
the
front of
first
your
image.
property,
This one here is not
the back of your
expensive.
property is 44 feet.
This is not, so
So it's gonna.
it's moving away from your property. The water moves away from your property, not towards your property. Because you can see, this is 44, this is 44, but you're at 45 or even higher. And I could pull up the survey in a few minutes. We can pull up the survey and go from there. So the water's moving towards the school property,
West
not
to
towards
east.
you.
Yeah, west east.
Yeah, it's going west east, yes.
The existing water retention runoff right now, that's due east of what you're showing, where these houses are going, that rectangular shaped,
Yes.
directly behind the school, that is still staying and it's going to be untouched.
That's on county property.
That's the county's
Yeah,
retention.
yeah,
The school
yeah.
pond,
It's
yes.
all the
that's-
trees.
We're not going to the school.
Same.
Okay.
We got hammered too.
So yeah, we've been in real close contact with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that they oversized that pond years ago, and which is a good thing.
Yeah, we're fine with it.
So.
We all like a big pond
Just,
now.
just to elaborate what we're gonna do on this project for the drainage, there are some off-site areas that are gonna go through our property and collect into our series of ponds that we have. We have 3 fairly large ponds. The county has a drainage model that they've established a 100-year flood at elevation 43.9. So what we do on a project like this and on other projects that we've done for Bill is that we will take the county's master drainage report and plan, just take a look at it, we will incorporate this project into that model, and we will that the 100-year elevation with this project, that it will be lower than the county's 100-year and 25-year and all their storm events. So we will make sure that that 100-year elevation at 43.9 will be lower than 43.9. And we've done it on other projects. And that's one of the reasons why the retention ponds are so large, is to accommodate, as Bill had mentioned, the 100-year storm event that we have to model. But we will, as part of our model, we will be ensuring that there's no adverse impacts off-site to any adjacent property owners, and that the flood elevation will be lower than what it is now, as established by the county.
And that's why I had mentioned if there's that big retention pond east of that property you're talking about. It's on the east
Yes,
side, which would be
down,
south
yeah.
on this map, the way it's turned. But the east side is going to remain, which
It's
is a
going to
good thing.
remain, and the elementary school, when they designed that pond, they did the same thing. They
Right.
designed it for a 100-year pond with no discharge.
I mean, we had what, a 25-foot crest, and it didn't even, and my property didn't even flood, and my property's sitting in the 100-year zone.
Right.
So-
You're in the.
So I mean,
You're in the zone.
25 to 30-foot crest on the Alafaya River on the last storm season, and we didn't have any issues.
Thank goodness.
Yes, thank goodness.
Thank
But we're sitting at
Soils
45,
out here are
50
very
foot.
good, they're
Right.
very well draining, and so the water, it has a very high percolation rate, where it drains into the soil, or perks into the soil.
Yeah, the soil's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soil's really good.
I've dug all over there.
Oh yeah, the school uses that for like the kids to run around and walk around the gym class and stuff.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is, which is great.
You know, a lot of places, a lot of YMCA's and high schools, they do that. They have these dry retention areas, and during the fall, winter months, when it's not raining, they will use them as, ball
Soccer
fields,
fields.
like soccer fields.
I've seen them do soccer out there before too, which is good. Yep. Thank you.
And so our ponds are going to be designed to be mostly, I believe, dry.
Yes.
So they'll be designed already to be
Dry
dry.
ponds.
Same way already dry.
Right,
Just
so
fair.
you're not going to have, if you have mosquitoes, it's going to be a couple months a year when it might have some water in it.
Right.
Well, let's stop them with some fish.
Yeah. Put some bass in there, we're good to go.
Some food.
Come to my place.
Then the access will be fine in the back of my property, because I just walk to the pond.
Right. Well, and there's going to be dry, which is good. I thought you were talking about mosquito eating fish. You're talking
I'm
about
talking about
bass.
catching bass.
Forget that. I want to.
All right, this is a blow up of the typical lot that's on the PD plan. But as Bill had mentioned, the minimum lot size is 6,600 square feet, which is where's the width on it? Let's see
The
that.
width is 50 feet.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, 50 by 120.
It's going to be longer than 120.
It's going to be,
The lots are going to be like 137. They're going to be actually larger than 6,600 minimum, but 6,600 minimum was just safe in case that one last lot by the elementary school, we have to design it in an odd way to get it to work.
I don't know much about square feet and land, but what's the size of the largest size of how two square on one of these lots?
Probably around 3,000 feet. That's pretty much.
Single story.
No, I can't guarantee that. There'll be probably 2 stories. A lot of the builders do 2 stories, probably.
Do you have a builder at this time?
No, no, sir.
Okay.
I have sold, just so you know, recently, mostly to Pulte, Homes by West Bay, and America's Homes for Rent bought one property from me recently. But I'm not in ton of discussions with anyone right now.
Yeah.
All right.
It's time.
A 30-foot fence on the outside of joining people's properties.
No, but we can talk later. We
Yeah.
can talk off the record and talk about the size of the fence, because we have, in the past, accommodated, higher fences. And we will go through here what we're planning on doing, which is the next slide. Hold on here.
Especially
This is if you are along the west side of us and you have a house behind you, you're on the east side of us and you have a house behind you, we're going to be putting in we put in what we call a vertical buffer, which we put 6-foot high fence, and then we plant every 40 foot on center, we plant 3-inch caliber trees, 10 foot high, and what it will do is it'll create a canopy behind you. So they start at 10 feet high.
All the retention ponds will be on the other side of the fence line too? Or will we see the retention ponds?
No, you won't see the retention.
They're gonna be on the road now, going back there, Richie.
Well, there's one behind us.
There is.
Right.
Yeah.
If they
And
have,
all you'll
between
see
my
is the
property and
retention.
yours.
You won't see anything, you'll
You
see the
see it.
retention pond, because all you're gonna have is a retention pond here and a retention pond there.
No.
This landscape buffer will not start until after the retention pond, because there's nothing to buffer when there's a pond. You've got the buffer. Here's the color concept, kind of give you an idea what it looks like. Plus, zoom it in a little bit.
And there's the school pond
There it is.
right there. And we're gonna have a couple of the larger ponds gonna be adjacent to it. This is called the entrance road pond.
And then we're gonna have a park up here at the top. So there'll be a park for the
Oh,
neighborhood.
bordering the school.
Yes, avoiding the school up there.
I was wondering what you were gonna do about the school area.
Right, avoiding the school parking lot to be a park, basically a park. Now, of course, we cannot say it's a dog park, but we do know dogs will be going there. Try to get a dog park in the county, it's not an easy deal. You put that dog thing on there, then there's a 50 list of things that have to be achieved.
Do they won't let you have access to Chimino's Road, so you can have a road going out that way too?
No, the school board said, no.
I bet they did.
You have no idea. You have no idea.
That was a hard no by then.
That was like hard no.
I have an idea. It took me 5 years to get a lift station put in at my business in Tampa. 5 years.
Ooh.
A mayor change. is
City
what
of
it took.
Tampa?
Yes.
City-
Yeah.
No.
It's gonna be 2 lanes, that road?
Our street will be 2 lane, of course. It's going to be 50-foot right of way, 24-foot, wide road, including the curb. Standard TDS
Yeah.
9, TDS 7 or 6, and whatever. TS3.
For Hillsborough County.
There's obviously gonna be a plat. Are you guys gonna do a deck with restrictions and, or no?
It'll be a deed restricted community. I don't know what. I mean, it's the typical, the thick deed restrictions saying, you can't have RVs in the yard and all
Right.
the other things. The typical, yeah.
And I know all the home builders that Bill has dealings with, they all have the same kind of deed restrictions to it.
A lot of times they try to impose the restrictions on the surrounding adjoining homeowners, so.
Well, there's no legal way they can do that. They might tell you they can do that, but there's really nothing you can do. I mean, if you live in a property that's an acre lot or whatever, you live in that acre lot so that you don't have people telling you
I agree.
you don't have the
Restrictions.
homeowners association coming and
We
telling
do
you
not.
what you can and can't do.
No.
They're trying to tell me what to do all
Is there anything going to be done with Chimino where the entrance to that community would be, like a turning lane, or are they going to add a little space to it? Just asking.
No, we'll be going through that in a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna go through that in 1 second.
Sorry.
Did you set this up for Wi-Fi?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. So when we get to there, we can do that.
Getting ahead of myself.
It says there's a 10-foot landscaping border.
Yeah,
Is that
buffer
between
easement.
like our property and your fence line, or
Yes, it would be right here to the pond.
like vehicles can drive around it?
No,
No.
no. There's no vehicle driving on any
So
of
your
any.
fence will be pretty close to ours.
Yes. The only place that vehicles would ever drive, it would only be to maintain, would be along here to get, if there was an emergency and you couldn't get down the road and somebody needed to get back here to the lift station or something. That'd be the only reason.
So that road, that existing gravel road, that's staying? That's
No,
there
it's
now?
not really staying, but it's staying, because part of it's already a right-of-way.
Yeah, for the county.
The right-of-way goes to right here. This portion from here to here is right-of-way. This is reserved for right-of-way back here in a 15-foot easement.
Uh-huh.
But this to here is right-of-way. So all it's going to be is it's going to be at the top of the bank of the pond is all it's going to be.
Okay, so
So it'll be grassed
It'll be grass, but not what's
Yeah.
there now, okay.
It won't be.
And any plans for a fence border around
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
Around the park.
Yes. A fence border on the backs of everybody's houses. In fact, I might even go put in, if I can get permission from the people, I'm gonna go ahead and put a fence in right now. Put in a nice fancy fence all the way down.
In
On
a
that
few weeks,
southern
they're
border.
about to fall down, so we get there. We get them in a few weeks. And,
Yeah, no. I got my crew, I can send my crew over here and we can put the fence in.
We'll leave our address for
I think that's a good idea, actually. I think Kevin, Sean, we're gonna go ahead and just put the darn fence in sooner than later. And I think that'll help you guys too.
Right.
Because then I'll need to talk to everybody. This is just for the southern boundary, not along the other one. Because there's a fence, as you know, there's like a 7 foot or whatever, there's a chain link fence here, there's a chain link fence here. I can't quite, I'll have to look at the survey to figure out who the ownership is, but I think we own the whole darn fence.
The chain link.
Yeah, the chain link. It's really nice, it's really high.
Yeah,
So we might even put our fence inside that chain link as well, just leave the chain link up so there's a double. I'll let the builder decide, but if I'm the builder, I want to have the maximum. No one's bothering anybody.
Right.
It really is nice. I think that might have been back from, believe it or not, the reason it was so high is that might have been back from a time when there were deer out here, and you needed a high fence to keep the deer out. And so I think that's how far back that goes. Here's the connectivity. We had to show this. This is the connectivity that were required, so we had to show the shared access and then the street here. We have, emails and correspondence from the Camino Elementary. We could not have the emergency access to the elementary school. We could not have to the driveway, the pedestrian access, regular access. There was going to be no.
It's like the school doesn't even exist in your eyes for what you're wanting to do.
Oh, no. We're making some improvements for the school. We'll show you that in a few minutes. It's not quite for the school, but we are. So let's go through this. We have first we have the administrative variance for the driveway spacing, and that was by that we can show that, and then we have the design exception, and we can show that for a minute because we're going to add, if the county will let us, we're working with the county right now. Originally, we thought, well, we can put a sidewalk along the whole front along where you all are. There's not enough right-of-way. There's 4 feet to 5 feet of right-of-way along that whole. And the reason why it was designed is when the Sierras originally, the Sierras and the Schimbergs and Tico all designed Bloomingdale originally, they wanted Culbreth to look like a boulevard. So what they did is the existing houses that were not part of, the existing lots that were not part of the community, they literally made the other side with the big trees and everything else and the long run. So it's a 60-foot right away, but the way they designed it is all the land and all the beauty is on that side,
yeah.
and nothing is on this
our
side. So I mean, it just was the way they designed it to make it look more like, even though it was only 60 feet, it makes it look like it's like 80 or 100 feet because it's like, got this nice beautiful trees. And so that was the original design when the Schimbergs and everyone, Sierras, the whole crew of them, Tico originally developed it. And I don't know if all of you know this, but the reason, you know why the name Culbreth is Culbreth?
No.
Because of H.L. Culbreth. The original, he was the chairman of Tampa Electric Company, and they named the road after him because Tampa Electric Company was the original, they were the equity partners in Bloomingdale. And just so you know, at one point in my career, when I first started my company 25 years ago, I was in charge of equity placement for Tampa Electric Company. So I put them in other deals all throughout the state as well. So, but Tampa Electric Company was the equity partner in Bloomingdale. Okay, this just talks about the trips that we're going to create with the 33 units. We're going to have peak hour 22 in one way, 13 in the other. And then this is the traffic analysis copy, we can get it to you. Okay, so we have the driveway spacing. We don't really have a lot of driveway spacing, so we need a variance, but we have to have a driveway. And then that's here. So this is what we're proposing for improvement, since we can't build a sidewalk on that side. And that is these rectangular rapid flashing beacons. And we have a picture of them here.
Right here.
Oh,
And
that's what they look like,
Yeah.
just that right there. So there'll be one at the entrance of Camino, one right at the entrance of our property, going across to get the kids across to the, and it'll actually help because the sidewalk ends here, but our sidewalk is going to continue all the way to this, because along the frontage, we have enough, we have a 20-foot landscape buffer, which will include a 5-foot sidewalk easement. And we're going to put sidewalk along so it'll connect to this sidewalk, then the kids can come here, then cross over at the beacon, and then we're going to add another beacon. If they'll allow us, we'll add another beacon up here so that the kids can safely cross to go back to the elementary school. And so that's what we're going to do, and I've got a little thing to show you what these beacons are. Hold on, let's turn it on. It didn't come on. Why didn't it come on?
Exit out of the full screen.
In general, a safe place for pedestrians
Stop.
to cross the road is at a well-marked, controlled
Why isn't it
location,
showing up?
often at an intersection.
Kevin, you know what?
Exit out of the. Here.
74% of pedestrian
here.
fatalities occurred at mid-block locations between intersections.
Hold on, PowerPoint. Here, I'll take care of it. We gotta shut the PowerPoint off for a minute here. I don't know, my mouse is going out on me. I have to get rid of the mouse.
It doesn't mean people are gonna stop it.
I was gonna say, I watch them blow through the stop sign all the time.
They go through the stop sign like 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, oh,
Right at growth of nature's going.
I'll get back to it.
they do that
A little
for
crosswalk.
something, Bloomingdale, they come with
You see that? That's the big area of the county, not the state.
No, that's not it. Where is it? Just turn them all off and see if it goes to the screen. Now does it go? No, it didn't go. Turn the PowerPoint off for a second. Turn it off.
Exit out.
Why is it? Just exit it off.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Come on. It was supposed to, we tried this at the office, it worked fine, and now it's not working at all.
It's long.
It should be on the screen. Here, just turn off the top one. Control alternate, please. Oh, there you go, there we go. Here we go. There we go.
In general, a safe place for pedestrians to cross the road is at a well-marked, controlled location, often at an intersection. In 2018, 74% of pedestrian fatalities occurred at mid-block
No, this is not quite
locations.
mid-block, but it's showing you how these all work.
So, how do we reduce fatalities at these locations and provide safe transportation for every pedestrian? Rectangular rapid flashing beacons, or RRFBs, can be an effective option. Driver yielding rates vary by location, but RRFBs can reduce pedestrian crashes by up to 47%.
A rectangular rapid flashing beacon is a pedestrian actuated device with yellow rectangular flashing lights to help bring attention to a pedestrian using an uncontrolled marked crosswalk.
The goal is to alert drivers that a pedestrian is attempting to cross the street.
The main reason it enhances safety is by increasing the visibility of the pedestrians. And when motorists yield, then typically we see a lot fewer pedestrian crashes, which is the whole reason that we do the crosswalk as well as the rapid flashing beacon.
RRFBs can improve driver yielding rates, which results in a safer crossing for pedestrians. They are most effective when installed in line with existing pedestrian travel behavior.
It's at a mid-block location. and we've found success in being able to provide safety treatments at the locations where the pedestrians are already crossing.
For maximum safety, RRFBs should be used in combination with other low-cost safety treatments.
We typically deploy them with other enhancements to increase visibility. So additional signing, we'll do additional pavement markings such as an advanced yield marking or advanced stop marking, as well as a pedestrian refuge island.
Which we might be required to do as well. I mean, whatever we need to do.
Enforcement or education is often part of that as well.
We've also found it possible to install street lighting at the curb sides of the approach and departure sides for the pedestrians, and it just adds again additional guidance so that pedestrians can be seen.
RRFBs offer a flexible, effective tool to enhance pedestrian safety.
So the RRFB being relatively cheap, being relatively easy to install, easy to maintain, low cost, little if any right-of-way or utility adjustments are normally required. So it's a treatment that can be delivered very quickly and fulfill that need.
Contact FHWA for more information on using RR.
Okay, we got the idea.
Are you saying those are really that would be going
And other
at
measures
the
to
entrance?
enhance transportation.
Yes, the entrance to the development, right on the north side, on the entrance to the development, and then up at the Community Elementary School at the present crossing. If you looked at that crosswalk, it's terrible. And that's where it would go there as well.
So there'll be two crosswalks right there with a crossing guard at the one that's
Yes.
a little bit further?
Yep. The one right there at Community Elementary's entrance, you know, they're right at the entrance, and the north side, they have the sidewalk. That's where it would go.
No, on the other side of the neighborhood, your side of the neighborhood.
Like-
There's a crosswalk right
Yeah,
there
right
in
at
Allwood.
No, oh, at Allwood.
And then
Yeah.
you would have another one?
And there's a
Beside
crossing
it?
guard there.
There's literally a crossing guard there and everything. Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have to move it to Allwood, because we didn't know anything about this.
That would be awesome.
Write this down. Maybe instead.
It's not a lot of all my property.
You have two beside each other, it might be.
Actually, be nice.
Yeah, I
Cross in front of my
You have
yard.
two crosswalks very
No
close
one
to
tells
one
me.
another there between Allwood and the 10% property. You're like boom, boom.
Huh?
If you place it in Allwood, is that in place?
No, it just would probably help the crossing guard so people would actually not hit them.
No.
But I'm not sure the kids will wanna go back south.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's
So-
not, it's.
They're not gonna go south to go north. So ours would be up there, but if they needed a third one, then we're, whatever the county wants.
Let me ask you a question. Why is the boundary, the red boundary running through all of our properties?
It doesn't, that's not a boundary, that's the PD study area.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with it?
No, that's nothing, that's just a CD study area.
So that's just a study.
Yeah, you have to do the PD
Is
study.
this movable?
No, we can't. The problem is,
Well, yeah, always our entrance and then
maybe where we are. Yeah, with the beach. Go, next one down. Okay. And we have the last one, I think the last slide we have before the question and answer time is the Culver Road is classified as a collector road, and it is a suburban residential CR3 collector road. So it's a collector road, and it's kind of in the county network is a collector road. And the next one is just question and answers. Do you have any questions? We're here to answer them. A bunch of them, whatever you need.
For the water and everything, you'll have to tap into the county, right? County water.
Water and sewer will both be county, because water and
How would
sewer.
that
Bore under
affect
the
the
road.
traffic right there?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Go under the road?
Bore
Oh,
under.
yeah, absolutely.
for the force
It'll be a
main,
directional bore.
You gonna cut the road, or you're just gonna bore?
No,
under it?
directional bore.
we'll bore it underneath the road too.
And it'll be cased, it'll be steel,
So
a lot of
actually a jacket bore encased and we'll connect to the force main on the
Other side.
the west side.
yeah, so there won't be any, there will be some cones and things put up when the entrance is being built, of course, but other than
That's
that.
south of all of us.
Yeah.
Right, it is south of most ends.
except for the people
Yeah.
on the neighborhood side.
Yeah, there might be somebody here from there. They actually, they would.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
As far as construction, do you have any control on their hours of operation?
Yeah.
I would say yes, but then I would be kind of lying to you because, you know, workers show up at like 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and they usually, hopefully they leave by, you know,
What's the
6 at
time
night.
frame of the project then? What would it be, a year,
what would
2
you
years?
estimate?
What would you estimate?
Oh, from
From start
today's
to finish.
meeting to when we will begin the project, we're still a year away.
So you're
But once
away,
you
but
start
when you
building,
start building, if
start to
it
finish.
all gets approved and the wand gets waved, for
Okay.
it, what would that, how long would that project be taking?
Project as far as when the houses are being
How
built.
long do I have to
and
listen to
roads.
your contractors?
The build out for all the homes.
It depends on where the economy is. It could be a 1.5 year project, it could be a 4-year project. It all depends on the economy. It's all about the economy. You know, if the economy slows, then building slows.
Building as they request the home.
Yeah, I mean, they'll build a
They'll
few of the
spec.
model centers, but yeah, they don't
They'll
usually.
spec, they'll all spec.
They might spec a few. but,
No, they all spec all of them anymore. Nobody builds everyone just builds up, they spec
Okay.
them and then they,
All
there's
right.
no such thing. So they'll come in and build 10 houses and then when they sell those 10, then they'll build another 10.
Right, they do it in tranches.
They do it in tranches. And so that's what I do, you know, like I said, we want to build a really nice, you see, we've made an effort to keep it from the street and put it in the back, kind of make it so that it's, you know, it keeps kind of the feel that presently is out there without changing it too much. You know, it's moved it way in the back, so it's, you know, it's not as right in here, right on the road. And since it's one of the last pieces, it'll be kind of nice, you know, it'll probably fill in the last gap. I mean, this thing at one time, I guess, was, you know, the use of this property was, it had some, you know, old cars on it and stuff. So
Yeah.
Did you do your
So-
phase 1, 2, and 3 inspections
we
yet?
did, we were all taking care of all that.
Because there's some issues on that property.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because I know. I knew the old owner, and she told me that, you know, that back section, by our back section.
Well, you know, we'll discover them more as we go along.
Once you start pulling stuff apart, you know. the
No,
woods.
even before then.
Yeah.
What about the existing trees? You're gonna, are any of the large trees staying or no? All
Now,
gone?
some of the large trees will be staying. In fact,
Yeah, they,
you did get the survey, we're gonna try to save that one on the south side, the one big one.
Close
As
to
you're
the
driving
entrance,
in, as close to the entrance, I'm gonna move the pond to keep that,
The big one?
so that,
The
yeah,
big
so
live
that,
oak, yeah.
so because that's a benefit. If you've ever been up to
Beautiful
our
tree.
Summers Cave property up at Winona-Sassa, you see that we literally designed a property around this huge tree.
Oh,
So
that's
we believe in, you know, we had like humongous trees. And everyone else would have just said, oh, you know, I just one of those. Listen, one of the things that's most important to me is that people enjoy living there 100 years from now.
Right.
And, you know, this is my legacy. So every project we build, especially when it's the larger ones, we build so that they can be, you know, so that people, they don't know why they're happy, but they're happy. You know, they got the park in the center, or they got the long drive in, or they got the nice park with the tree as they're right on the side. You know, we try to build things that people, well, they don't know why, but they enjoy it. They don't know who did it, but they know that it, you know, it turned out really well for them. Because, you know, every community we build, it's someplace I could actually live. In fact, to be quite honest with you, most of the houses in these communities are bigger than my own. I don't really live in that big of a house. I have a barn and, you know, office and everything else, but, you know, so, you know, we build things to last, so that we're not just here to rack them, stack them and things.
Bill wants us to try to save as many trees as possible, so when we go through the drainage analysis and the grading of the site, if we can meander the top of bank of the pond to save a tree, we'll do it. If we can meander the swale or relocate the swale to the rear to save some nice trees, obviously we're going to try to do that.
Got a lot of nice
We
trees
consider
back in
trees
back.
to be an amenity in and of itself, so.
And really, like, it is so much a part of the character of the whole neighborhood, you know?
True.
It looks like it's been there a while, and It would be nice to try to keep it. And speaking of that, is your entrance plan to be similar to all of the other Bloomingdale entrances?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. We'll match existing out there. I want to go back and really study and figure it out and make them as nice as possible. I mean, we're naming this Bloomingdale.
Special taxing district, are you going to be part of that too, or is that not?
I don't know anything about the special taxing district.
We're part of like a neighborhood special, or does anyone want to speak to that? Special taxing district?
You're talking about the Bloomingdale Association?
Bloomingdale Association.
The assessments, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Bloomingdale Special Taxing District is
It's like a
all of
CDD,
Bloomingdale.
but not a CDD, is my guess. I'm not
Special-
Oh, it's a pre-CDD thing.
I guess.
It's actually a pre-DRI. You know, Bloomingdale would have been a development of regional impact years ago, but it was built before the DUI. We built one of our earlier projects that you guys, or communities you might be familiar with, is if you ever drive through Plant City and you go through Walden Woods, we originally, we built all the residential in the Walden Woods. So, and that's a really nice drive, and looks really pretty. So yeah.
And then you were saying the trees behind the fence that's gonna border, is there gonna be trees on the south side fence before the retention pond right back there too? Or is it just gonna be the fence and then the retention pond? So you
No,
had a
it'll be a
slide where
fence
you
and the
showed
retention
trees.
pond. There won't be any trees back.
There will be trees.
But there'll be a
between
nice,
that.
there'll be
Okay.
a,
Okay.
we're gonna probably have to plant some trees. So there'll end up being trees back there because we're gonna have to plant trees to, any trees we cut down, we have to replace. So
Sure.
there'll be, you'll be picking up some trees because we're gonna need some place to put them.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a couple of big boundary trees in the back. You already tagged them and put the placard on them to keep them, but if your fence is coming right along our fence, are you just gonna stop on both sides of the tree or like triangle around it or something?
Usually triangles around.
Box
You
it,
usually
box it.
box around it.
Yeah.
Leave it on your side usually is what would happen.
Like I did over on my on the south end without
I
crossing.
mean, I have a neighbor in, where I live in Howie in the Hills, and I have a neighbor that literally, she said, do you mind putting the fence on your side, or on my side, so you can keep the tree and maintain the tree? Okay, you want the fence on your property, that's fine. So
basically timeline, you said we're probably gonna maybe do fence soon and then road goes in, like
a year from now,
a year from
before
now.
you're gonna see any roads start. I don't think we can't push it much faster than that, I don't think.
Well, it's not even approved at the county level yet.
Right, no, I mean, we have, once we submit, then you're still 9 months out. for Initial submittal.
Where are the properties gonna run back there?
Excuse me?
Ballpark, the homes.
What are you gonna sell them for?
700s, 800,000s,
Okay.
maybe higher, you never know. I mean, honestly, I think it's a gem, and I don't think,
Especially if you did one house per acre.
Pardon?
Then they'd be $2 million houses.
Or more.
So the 10-foot easement with the trees on the west side, who's gonna control that? Is that gonna go to the homeowners?
it will be owned by the homeowner, but there'll be an easement back there that if it needs to be maintained, the
I got-
homeowner association come in
Yeah,
and
my
maintain it.
question is, would they be able to cut those trees down?
No. No, they'll be deed restricted from cutting the trees down.
On the west side, on this back side.
This backside.
I imagine you did a fence, I'm like, construction anyhow, you were dirt down there.
Right, there'll be all kinds of silt fence and everything else. But the good news is we have really good fencing for most of the property already.
Yeah.
The chain link goes all the way around and stops at my yard.
Oh, it does? Okay.
And then I have my own fence and then Sean has.
Right. We'll put silt fence there.
Canopy, so from my pool.
And then plenty of trees, we have to say we have to put tree barricades around. So when you start seeing the guy coming around putting Kevin and whoever else, my guys,
I know he probably hates coming out there. He's like, the neighbors always come talk to me.
So we'll have, when you start seeing us put up the tree barricades, then you know it's coming. Because we put the tree barricades up first, and then the silt fence comes in.
So for the folks who live on Brookville, who now just have woods in the back of them, use their cows and donkeys
Right.
and various things, what are they going to see when they look out their slider and see that
The ponds. You're in the back, you're along the southern property line. Our southern property line, your northern property line. You can see ponds.
Just see
That's all you're
sky.
gonna see is
We're
ponds.
gonna see houses, right?
What?
Usually if they're two-story, we're gonna see
They're gonna
roofs.
see me floating.
Yeah, but it's gonna be, we
Same.
can go back to that, hold
It's way
on.
up there.
Hold on, let's go back.
And I planted areca palms all the way around the whole thing, so in about 3 years, it'll be about 20 foot tall.
Okay, so if you are back here, you're not gonna see any houses until you get back to this corner, and you're gonna be at least a couple hundred feet.
I can't see where you're pointing.
Pardon?
All the way.
Point up on the
You gotta point up on the screen.
Okay, sorry, if you're along here, you're not gonna see any houses. If you're any of these houses, you won't see any houses, because the houses are way over here.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see a house. You're only gonna see a house maybe in these houses back in here.
Thank you.
Depending on how much trees you have between there and there. Because there is a bunch of trees back there. Oak trees.
Pardon?
I don't know if he's gonna have trees up because it's a retention pond.
He said he's gonna try to keep them on the edges of the
Yeah.
retention
Did he?
ponds. Yeah, he said.
Or, yeah, you can probably see, yeah, you're not gonna
Wherever
see
we
a
can
whole lot.
salvage them, we will
Oh,
salvage them.
and that's good.
Yeah, because there's a lot of big oaks.
Oh, really?
I took my
If you're
truck
back
there,
here,
I was driving around. I was
Brookline,
like,
you're not
I was
gonna
like,
see,
there's still a ton of trees.
you'll see, the two stories, you'll see that there are houses back there, but it'll be
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Oh, yeah.
you see now when you see, because the house, you're gonna see like, if you see a house here,
Really?
that's what you're gonna basically see from here, and actually it'll be even further back than from here. So you're not really gonna see, and we designed it that way, because we wanted to make sure that, you know, well, but that's where the retention was gonna be anyway, so it didn't really matter, but that's where the retention is gonna be, so you should be fine.
That's about right.
Yeah. Now, the entrance to this is on, obviously Culbreth, but just north of Allwood,
Yes.
Yes,
right? After Bloomingdale Cove,
right,
it would be just like the one house length there on Bloomingdale Cove.
correct,
One house sitting north on Allwood, and then it would be right past that.
correct.
Okay.
In fact, we got an aerial here somewhere, don't we? Maybe go back to the beginning, is that's the, there's the aerial. So you can see here, you got Allwood's entrance would be here underneath this community thing.
Right above the two O's and the D.
Right, where it says
Yes.
neighborhood,
Yep.
the bottom of the hood.
All right. Yeah, you're gonna have to have the kids walk one house length, maybe a little more, to go to the Allwood crosswalk.
Yeah.
No,
It's
they're gonna
not
have
that.
their own crosswalk.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna have our own.
But they're gonna be
So
one,
close
about
to each
one
other.
and a half house lengths.
You're not even
Yeah, you're
gonna be able
talking
to fit
But
a car
the
in
point
between
is
them.
that let's, well, we'll get with the discussions with the county, but the point is that, and it was pointed out earlier, is the kids are not gonna go south to go north. They're not gonna go that way, they're gonna just cut across the
You're gonna
street.
get cars stuck in between two crosswalks.
Yeah.
So what'll probably happen is that we'll have the beacons and Allwood will have the crosswalk guy, because that's where all the traffic, all the,
That's also a bus stop.
and ours will be a,
That's a bus stop.
That is
a bus stop.
correct.
So the kids will be walking south.
correct?
If they're catching a bus.
It's, it is.
And the bus goes to what, the middle
Middle
school?
school.
It has to-
And the high school.
And high school.
Are you kidding? The kids
It's
can't
right
walk
out,
to high
it's
school?
right outside.
It's
that
right at
mile.
2 miles.
Or
Oh,
outside
okay.
2 mile, yeah, 2 mile.
I'm sorry.
I used to ride like 5 miles to school on my bicycle.
I used to go, yeah, I went to school, it was uphill both ways.
Yeah, both ways, too.
Yeah, both
And it
ways.
snowed.
And
It's
snow.
just gonna be stop signs.
Pardon?
You're just gonna have stop signs at
In
the,
Florida.
for the traffic control devices entering and exiting, or exiting the,
There'll be a stop sign, there probably will not be a stop sign on Culbreth itself, I don't think they're gonna make us, I don't think they want a stop sign.
they wouldn't follow them anyway.
Right. We will definitely have a stop sign.
It will, yeah. Like I said, it's only one house, maybe 1.5. They're gonna have
It's
to go
gonna
south to
overburden the roads a little bit at certain times with, you know, 100 plus
They
cars.
But it's not,
Unless they're going to
Chino.
Chino.
It's one house property. Anyway.
I wonder if they, will they give you access to Chimino's Road with a walkthrough on the gate so the kids can just walk to school through that way?
No, because it's.
That would have been really smart.
Yeah. I mean.
Go talk to the school guy.
Yeah, right.
Because they are not giving us that.
Even a gate.
They said no. I wanted to give them a pedestrian, because I figured the kids could then walk
right to
through our
school.
neighborhood and go to the school.
Safer.
And safer.
Totally.
They said no.
Yeah, I bet no.
Go petition the school.
Because the gate is sealed off to the right of your property.
No
on the top
question.
north end.
You're
The
talking
gate
correct.
is left of that property.
No, I mean to the east of the end of their point.
Right.
Is where the gate entrance is
Listen,
in Chino. So that's a public road access
I
all
went
the
to
way
them
up
and
there.
asked them specifically for that, because I thought, I
Safer.
provided over at Willowbrook, which used to be a different name, but over at Willowbrook, we literally, over there on St. Cloud, we provided an access to the elementary school in the back of what used to be Quailcrest, but now it's Willowbrook Phase 2. We had a back, so because all those kids, there was like 1,000 kids back in there, and they used to have to walk down Durant, which didn't have any at all
Right.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
And so I built the sidewalk to go right to the school, because I'm like, these kids need a place to go
They're
to
getting
school.
mowed over. Yeah.
But isn't the gate like up further so that if
It's
they're on?
right to the top right corner.
It would just be on the driveway.
Look, we could have done it. If anybody can call the school board and get them to do it, I'm glad.
Right there.
Right, yeah, so it's
That's
right.
what-
See, there's
Oh,
a
so
gate
maybe I can't do
there.
it.
I thought it was to the right of that.
It's all within the gate. which
You're
is-
right.
I think it's to the left of that. It's farther west.
I thought it was to the right of it.
And it's the two
I know
gates
it's
that
pretty
close
close
the
to where
road.
that bend is, but.
So if
Well,
they're
guess
on
what?
down-
If the kids want to go that way, they will.
Well, you gotta get over the chain link fence
right,
at
yeah,
6
they
foot,
will, yeah.
and then you gotta get over the wooden fence at 6 foot.
Yeah,
Who knows, there might be a gate put in there, and I don't know how it got there.
Right.
I really don't.
So that road that turns into Cheetah is not a public road? Is that what we're saying? The road that turns into the school?
It is not a public road, no, sir.
Okay.
And ours is not going to be a public road either, because we have a situation where it's a cul-de-sac and they don't want it to be public because they don't want to have to maintain it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So do we gate it?
Is it gonna be a gated?
We are not going to gate it as of today. We might change the design later and gate it, but we're not right now going to gate it. We don't need to gate out here. It's not like, you're not like in a place where it's that dangerous. It's Bloomingdale. It's kind of a nice neighborhood. I never lived in a gated community in my life. I now live in a place that's gated, but I've 18 acres, so I keep the front gated to keep the horses in. That's the only reason.
You should move your horses over here, and build a barn over here, and then that'll fix it. I think it'd be a great ranch.
Horses don't like to be next to people. I just was actually on my way over here, and we built a place called Summit View over on Dover, and the property next door, they now just put horses on it, and I saw horses running back and forth because some neighbor in the back was probably making noise or something.
There was horses back there at one time, they loved me.
The cattle, the horses, there's been all kinds of stuff back there.
Wow, we used to hear a cow
The
moving.
donkey.
The
Oh, it was a donkey?
Yep.
Well, it had been a cow or a cow, I don't know how many. We used to hear them all the time, it was funny, I'm like,
Yeah, this is kind of a unique property because it's almost like it's an enclave, like way tucked back in. And we did another one called, what was the one we did down in Riverview? The one that's back there by back there behind the coffee place I used to have coffee in, off of Carr Road.
River's Edge.
River's Edge.
River's Edge.
River's Edge. So it's going to have to feel like River's Edge. If you want to go see a community that this is going to kind of feel like, because it's going to be drived in and then you got it, it's probably River's Edge. Or if you want to go up to the Nonasassa right on Hardy Road, it would be Summers Cay. Because they're both going to have the nice feel. Summers Cay is really, really nice. It's going to feel more like Summers Cay than even the other one, because Summers Cay, you have that big tree as you're coming in. So if you ever get up to Summers Cay, have a look. And we have a brochure here.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't, that's okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
The last slide has the RZ number and
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
the hearing. Just to,
It's August 18th at 6
yeah,
o'clock.
just in case nobody knew.
You'll be getting notices after this meeting. We didn't want to send the notices out to confuse people. There you go. It's at the, the Kennedy, that's